You're now tuning in to Fatima Bey, the MindShifter. Get ready to shift your thinking and turn it into success.
Hello and welcome to Fatima Bey, the MindShifter. Thank you for listening. Today's topic is failure. Have you ever failed? I know I certainly have. In fact, if you're a human being and you're listening, I know you have failed too. We all have. And you know what? It's okay. We're going to dive a little deeper into that subject today. I'm going to start off by giving you the actual definition of the word failure according to the Oxford Dictionary. Failure equals lack of success. Basically, it's the opposite of success. Now, what have you failed in? I'm sure you're going through a list in your head right now. But what I want to do today is I want to shift your thinking about failure. Because very often we think of it incorrectly and we end up beating ourselves up unnecessarily. And we stop trying. And see, the thing about failure is you can't fail until you stop trying. You can't win or lose a race if you're still running. Think about that. Very often, because we are running the race and we're not there yet, we're like, well, I failed. I have to stop running. Well, the second you stop running, well, then, yeah, you've lost the race. Then you're technically a loser. But the thing is, if you want to succeed at something, you can't stop at the first mistake. You have to keep running. Failure is the lack of success. Well, you haven't reached the lack of success until you stop trying. Think about that. I'm going to talk about trial and error a little bit because most of the time when we're thinking of failure, we're looking at something and thinking that we failed. What we're actually looking at is trial and error. And again, this is according to Oxford. The definition of trial and error is the process of experimenting with various methods of doing something until one finds the most successful. I'm going to say that again. Trial and error is the process of experimenting with various methods of doing something until one finds the most successful. So what that tells you, what it should tell you, and what I'm telling you right now, is when you think of your failures, more often than not, you're seeing them as failures, but they're really trial and error. I'm going to give you a really big example that really meant something to me years ago when I learned about this. And to this day, it drives me. You know who one of the people, I'm inspired by many, but one of the people I'm inspired by is Walt Disney. And I think most people don't really fully, truly know his story. They've made movies about it, but I still think that most people don't really realize what this man has done. Walt Disney went through bankruptcies, not just one, but several, a mental breakdown, a devastating strike, and so much more. Yet we know his name. Do you know that he was rejected over 300 times for Mickey Mouse and his theme park? 300 times! Can you imagine that? What would you be willing to try 300 times and still keep going? Chances are most of us will quit after 10. Some of you will quit after 20 or 30. But 300 times? That's determination. You see, he did not quit until he found success. And what I wanted to explain to you today, the biggest difference between success and failures is persistence. That is the distinguishing factor. Not talent, not means and opportunity, but persistent. Talent, means and opportunity, they are definitely a part of the equation, but they hold a far lower percentage than persistence. Persistence is key. Now, what have you failed at in the past and you beat yourself up about? Entrepreneurs, anyone who is a successful business person that built their business from the ground up will tell you they had quote unquote failures. But I'm going to rearrange those wordings to trial and error. There's no single business person who's built their own business that hasn't had some trial and error, that hasn't made some mistakes. You made a mistake. Okay, so you did that wrong. Great. Learn from it and build upon it and move forward. What is it that you were trying to succeed in life with or about? What have you failed at? And again, let's reword that. What have you messed up and not gotten quite right? Sometimes the reason we look at things as failures is because we don't recognize that we need trial and error to succeed. I forget who said it, but it's a famous quote that the road to success is built with failures. And it is. It's lined with failures. But the truth is, it's not really failures. It's trial and error. So you have to kind of switch your thinking around to thinking this expectation that we need to be perfect the first time we try anything is totally, completely, and utterly unrealistic. It has no connection to reality whatsoever. Have you failed? Correction. Have you had trial and error at being a landlord? Okay, maybe you made a mistake with the first house. Maybe you made a mistake with the second. That doesn't mean you shouldn't try a third. It doesn't mean you need to try a third doing the same thing that you failed at for the first and second. Well, duh. But what it does mean is you learn from the first and the second, you try for the third. And you keep going till you get it right. I will tell you, I'm a salsa dancer. And no, I've never danced professionally, but I'm a salsa dancer. I'm a very, very avid salsa dancer. And I've been around a lot of professionals, and I know dance instructors. And any of them, any professional dancer, any instructor will tell you, practice, 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 practice. Right? Guess how many of them did a turn wrong and, they spun crazy. And as a salsa dancer, it's a partner dancing. So you have a lead and a follow. And the lead might lead all crazy and the follow can't follow because they're leading crazy. And the follow might be trying to back lead and the leader can't lead. Things get messed up. But that doesn't stop them from dancing. I've been dancing for many years and I've seen people, I can't get this, and they just stop. The ones who become good dancers are the ones who keep trying. Yes, some are more talented than others, but I'm not talking about that. You fail when you stop trying. You don't fail because you made a mistake. That is called trial and error. Stop beating yourself up because you haven't been perfect. Your imperfections are what will make you a perfect success later. Because you can't learn from perfection. Most of the time, we don't recognize and realize that. You don't learn from perfection. And if you come out the gate, everything's perfect all the time, I don't want to be around you because you don't know nothing. You have no strength and you haven't learned anything because you haven't experienced your trials and errors. It is okay that you made a mistake. It is okay that it didn't work the first time. It doesn't mean you don't try it again. It means you try it differently. And with that comes those who are always going to be in your ear telling you you should just stop trying. Go get a job at McDonald's, Don't try to be an entrepreneur and just work a job and that's it. And if you were a real true entrepreneur, that's like asking me to die, right? You need to keep trying. And don't listen to those who, there's always going to be some around, by the way, who are going to be like, you failed. Oh, you already tried that 3 times. Why are you trying again? Look at Walt Disney. Do you not think he had people in his ear telling him how stupid he was for continuing to try? What a fool he was for continuing to try. And to this day, we know that fool's name, don't we? To this day, our kids want to go to the place named after him. Why? Because he allowed his trial and errors to be trials and errors and not failures. What I want you to think about today and what I want you to recognize today is your mistakes are not failures. They're trial and error. They become failures when you stop trying. Because when you stop trying, you've already lost the race. Do you hear what I'm saying? Your errors, your trials and errors are not failures unless you make them that way. If you are a leader and you, of any kind, you want to be an entrepreneur of any kind, persistence is key. Please stop beating yourself up over your mistakes. You can't go back and change them. But what you can do is learn from them and move forward and try again. Scientific experiments, the medications that we take, they were experimented on. You know what experimenting is? Trial and error. They're not failures. They're trial and error. And they keep trialing and erring until they reach success. And they have a medication that works for, whatever the detail is. That is what you need to think about. When you're thinking about your failures, you're not a loser until you stop trying. You can still win the race, but you have to keep running. There's no way to win the race if you stop running. So again, I want to encourage you to look at your failures, what you've been looking at as failures, as trial and error. What can I learn from them? Aha. And do it again. You do something wrong that time? All right, learn from that and do it again. And again and again and again and again until you get it right. That's how everyone is successful. And those are the people that maintain their success. Those who are handed things don't usually maintain them. That's what we don't recognize. So again, your failure is not really a failure. It's trial and error. You can be successful at that thing. And don't listen to the voices, the negative voices who are telling you otherwise. They're wrong. Just like everyone who told Walt Disney to shut up and stop trying and how stupid he was, they were wrong too. We don't know their names. There's a reason for that. You've been listening to Fatima Bey, the MindShifter, and I appreciate you taking the time to listen to me. And if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please email me at radio@fatimabey.com. That's radio@fatimabey.com. And I also encourage you to subscribe to my YouTube channel, which is Fatima Bey, the MindShifter. And make sure you click on that bell because I have a lot more teachings in video form as well. And again, thank you for listening.
Tune in next week for another segment of Fatima Bey, the MindShifter. For more of her teachings, subscribe to her YouTube channel at Fatima Bey, the MindShifter.